Before we begin, take a second to subscribe to this channel. Here, you'll find words that lift your soul and bring peace to your heart. Join this growing community of faith. You're not alone. Have you ever felt like your life paused, like everything stopped moving, and all that was left was a question you couldn't answer? Have you been in a place where the silence felt deafening, and your heart whispered, "God, are you still there?" There are seasons when life doesn't make sense, when everything familiar suddenly becomes foreign. In moments like these, confusion can be overwhelming. We may ask, "Lord, is this your discipline? Or are you shaping something in me I can't yet see?" These are not just thoughts, they are cries of the heart. And yet, even in this uncertainty, there's a whisper from heaven calling us to trust. Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths." This isn't just a verse, it's a divine lifeline, a call to surrender the illusion of control, to trust, even when trusting feels like falling backwards into the unknown, to lean not on what we think we know, but on who we know. To trust God with all your heart means surrendering the need to understand everything. It means holding his hand in the dark, even when you can't see what's ahead. It means saying, "I don't get it, but I still believe you're good." It's not about pretending you're okay. It's about choosing faith over fear. Because the truth is, peace doesn't come from answers. It comes from presence, from knowing the one who is the answer. Our God doesn't need your full understanding to start working miracles in your life. He just needs your yes, your willingness, your surrender. Speech balloon if this spoke to your heart. Drop a "Lord, I trust you" in the comments. Let your faith speak even louder than your questions. We often say we trust God until we face something we can't control. It's easy to believe when life flows smoothly, when prayers are answered the way we expected, and doors open exactly on time. But real trust is tested in the silence, in the delays, in the moments when God seems quiet and life feels like it's falling apart. Sometimes, faith isn't loud. It's not always a shout or a song. Sometimes, faith is just whispering "Jesus" through tears you can't stop. Sometimes, it's choosing to get up in the morning when everything in you wants to stay down. It's praying again when the last prayer seemed unanswered. And God sees that. He sees the silent battles. He sees the nights you cried but told no one. He sees how you're still showing up, still believing, still hoping. And he honors it. You don't have to have all the right words. You don't have to present him a perfect version of yourself. He already knows you. He just wants your heart, honest, raw, and surrendered. One of the greatest roadblocks to deeper faith is our human desire to understand before we obey. We want to know the why, the when, and the how before we move. But God says, "Trust me first, then I will guide you." Imagine a life where your first response is not "God, explain," but "God, I'm with you no matter what." That's when things shift. That's where peace grows. When you trust God more than you trust your feelings. When you surrender your logic in exchange for his wisdom. You begin to live not by sight, but by faith. And that faith, it moves mountains. You may not see it yet, but your faith is producing fruit. Behind the scenes, God is aligning things you don't even know you'll need. He is preparing strength for a storm you haven't even seen. He's working in silence, because real growth often happens underground, in the hidden places. Speech balloon if this resonates with where you are right now. Type, "I'm walking by faith" in the comments. Let your declaration ignite someone else's hope. We tend to think that God's presence is proven through blessings. When the bills are paid, when relationships are healthy, when doors open, surely God is here. But what if I told you that God is just as present in the waiting as he is in the winning? Faith isn't always about escaping the storm. Sometimes it's about learning to walk through it with peace in your heart and his hand in yours. The goal is not comfort, it's communion. God desires closeness, not convenience. And sometimes, the very thing you thought was meant to break you is what brings you closer to him. He never promised the path would be easy, but he did promise he would never leave you. Romans 8 verse 28 says, "And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are the called according to his purpose." Let that sink in. All things. Not just the victories, not just the celebrations, not just the moments when your prayers are answered the way you hoped, but all things, the delays, the heartbreaks, the closed doors, the silent seasons, even the pain you never saw coming. Every part of your story is being used. Nothing is wasted in God's hands. He is the master of turning ashes into beauty, wounds into wisdom, and setbacks into setups for something greater. And maybe you're walking through something right now that makes no sense. But can you dare to believe that even this will work for your good? God's not just working for you. He's working in you, shaping your character, deepening your dependence, preparing you for more than you can currently imagine. So don't quit in the middle. This is not your ending. This is the part where your roots grow deeper. Speech balloon if you're in a season of trusting without understanding. Type, "I'm in God's hands" in the comments. Let that be your declaration of faith today. There's a reason why God doesn't always show us the full picture. If He revealed everything at once, the challenges, the delays, the pain, we might never take the first step. But He walks with us one day at a time, one moment at a time, inviting us to trust Him in the process. You see, faith is built in layers. First in the little things, the prayers you whispered under your breath that no one else heard. The days you chose to show kindness, even when you were broken inside. The moments you said, "God, I don't feel you, but I'm still here." That's how spiritual muscles grow. That's how endurance forms. Not through comfort, but through surrender. God is not in a hurry, but He is always intentional. He doesn't waste pain. He doesn't overlook tears. Every moment you feel forgotten is actually an invitation to go deeper. What if your unanswered prayer isn't a denial, but a delay meant to prepare you? What if the silence is sacred, God holding you close, teaching you to walk by faith and not by sight? Sometimes He allows you to stand in front of the Red Sea just to show you He's still the God who parts waters. Sometimes He lets the enemy chase you, so you'll see Him fight on your behalf. Sometimes He allows the fire, not to destroy you, but to reveal that He's the fourth man standing beside you in the flames. God never promised we'd be immune to pain, but He did promise His presence through it. And in that presence, there is peace, there is power, there is purpose. Don't mistake delay for abandonment. Don't confuse silence for absence. He is closer than you think. He is more involved than you realize. Dove, if you're trusting God, even in the silence, comment below, "God, I know you're here." Let your faith speak, even in the quiet. If this message is strengthening your spirit, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button and be part of a family that prays, encourages, and grows together. Let's walk this journey of faith side by side. God's process often feels like a paradox. You're being stretched while being held. You're being tested while being loved. You're being refined in the fire, yet comforted in His presence. And that's the mystery of grace. That He allows storms not to punish you, but to purify you. That He permits opposition not to destroy you, but to develop strength within you. You're not being broken apart. You're being broken open. Open to deeper wisdom. Open to greater humility. Open to a level of trust that can't be faked. In Scripture, some of the greatest victories followed impossible situations. Israel trapped at the Red Sea. Daniel thrown into the lion's den. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego cast into the furnace. Each scenario looked like the end, but God wrote a different story. And He's doing the same in your life. The closed door might be protection. The detour might be divine. The waiting season might be the very place where your faith gets real and your roots grow deep. Because real strength isn't proven when life is easy. It's revealed when life is hard. And here's the beautiful truth. God doesn't just bring you out of fire. He brings you through it. So when others see the flames, they'll also see that you weren't alone. Keep walking. Keep believing. Even if your voice shakes. Even if your hands tremble. Because what you're going through today is preparing you for what you've been praying for. Raising hands if you believe God is using this season for a greater purpose. Type in the comments, "Use me, Lord." Your surrender might inspire someone else's breakthrough. Sometimes we think that because we're walking with God, we shouldn't face battles. But following Jesus doesn't mean the absence of struggle. It means the presence of strength in the struggle. You might be praying for peace, and instead, God is giving you perseverance. You might be asking for deliverance, but He's building endurance. that doesn't mean he's not listening. It means he's working on something deeper than relief. He's after your transformation. Remember, even Jesus went through the wilderness before stepping into his public calling. Even David faced giants before wearing a crown. Even Paul wrote some of his most powerful letters from prison. So if you feel like you're in a wilderness, a dark valley, or a place that makes no sense, you're not off course. You're being trained. Faith isn't just built by seeing miracles. It's forged in the unseen moments. When no one is watching, when the battle is inward, when the fight is simply choosing not to give up, God is still with you. He's not waiting for you to get stronger to show up. He's already beside you, even in your weakness. In fact, his power is made perfect in your weakness. So don't be ashamed of your tears. Don't hide your weariness, because God doesn't reject broken people. He rebuilds them. He breathes life into dry bones. He lifts up those who are bowed low. He gives strength to the faint-hearted and joy to the ones who sow in sorrow. So if you're holding on with nothing but a whisper of hope, know that it's enough. It's more than enough for him to work with. Pin, if you've ever seen God meet you in a weak moment, write in the comments, your grace is enough. Someone needs to hear that truth today through your voice. Have you ever asked God to take something away, and instead, he gave you the strength to carry it? That's the kind of growth that doesn't make headlines, but it transforms your soul. You see, the world celebrates instant answers, but God values the process, because it's in the process that you learn how to pray, not just for solutions, but for his will. It's where you learn to worship, not just when things feel good, but when things feel impossible. We often say, God, change my circumstances. But sometimes God is saying, I'm using your circumstances to change you. That's where character is forged. That's where spiritual maturity is born. Not in the comfort of answered prayers, but in the discomfort of waiting, trusting, and surrendering. When Jesus prayed in Gethsemane, he said, Father, if it is possible, take this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done. Even the Son of God asked for a different path, but still chose obedience. And because of that choice, redemption was made available to all of us. You might be carrying something heavy right now. You may feel like you've been faithful, but nothing's changing. But the miracle might not be the removal of your burden. It might be the strength God is building in you through it. Your breakthrough isn't just about what God is doing for you. It's also about what he's doing in you, so that you can become the person he created you to be. Hold on, not because the path is easy, but because the one who walks with you is faithful. He sees the whole picture. You just see the frame. Memo if you're learning to say, not my will, but yours, type that in the comments below. It's not weakness. It's the deepest form of strength. Sometimes, when life feels overwhelming, it's tempting to look for quick fixes. But God's work is rarely instant. It's intentional and enduring. Each challenge you face is like a chisel in the hands of a master sculptor. Slowly, patiently, he's shaping you into a masterpiece. The scars you carry aren't signs of defeat. They are badges of resilience and faith. They tell a story of a warrior who didn't give up when the battle was fierce. You may not understand why certain doors close or why certain prayers seem unanswered, but God's timing is perfect and his plans are higher than ours. He is weaving every thread, light and dark, into a beautiful tapestry that will reveal his glory. What seems like waiting is actually preparation. What feels like silence is actually God's voice speaking in ways you might not yet hear. Trust him to finish what he started in you. When you feel like giving up, remember, your story is still being written. You are not alone in the struggle. He walks beside you. His strength is made perfect in your weakness. So, instead of focusing on the storm, fix your eyes on the one who calms the storm. Speech balloon if you've ever found peace in God's perfect timing. Share his timing is perfect in the comments. Your testimony could be the encouragement someone needs today. There's a unique beauty in trusting God without having all the answers. It takes courage to walk in faith when the road ahead is uncertain. But that's exactly what God calls us to do, to step out even when we can't see the full path. Every believer faces moments of doubt and fear. What separates those who persevere is not the absence of fear, but the choice to trust God despite it. Think about Abraham, who left his home without knowing where he was going. His faith wasn't rewarded with a clear map, but with God's promise and presence every step of the way. You might not have a blueprint for your life right now, and that's okay. God's promise is that He will direct your steps if you lean on Him. Faith doesn't mean you have to have everything figured out. It means you keep moving forward, trusting God to guide you. Don't let uncertainty paralyze you. Use it as a chance to grow deeper in your relationship with God. When you're tempted to give up, remember that God's timing is always perfect and His plans are always good. He's working behind the scenes in ways you can't yet see. Your breakthrough is coming. If you believe God is guiding your steps, even when you can't see the way, type, "I trust your plan" below. Your words might be the light someone else needs. If this message is encouraging your heart, please consider subscribing to the channel. Join us for more uplifting prayers and reflections that will strengthen your faith daily. We'd love to have you as part of this community. Faith is often tested in the quiet moments, when no one else is watching and the world feels distant. It's easy to trust God when surrounded by others or during times of celebration. But real faith shows up when you're alone with your doubts, your fears, and your prayers whispered in the dark. Remember the story of Job? He lost everything, his wealth, his family, his health. Yet in his darkest hour, he declared, "Though He slay me, yet I will trust Him." That's the kind of faith that doesn't depend on circumstances. It's a faith rooted deep in the knowledge that God's love never fails, even when everything else does. When you feel like your faith is fading, don't give up. Lean into God's promises and hold tight to His word. Your trials are not the end of the story. They are chapters in a greater narrative of redemption and victory. Trust that God is working all things together for your good. Even when the path is unclear, He is your guide. Glowing star if you find strength in trusting God through trials. Write "faith over fear" in the comments. Let's encourage each other with hope and perseverance. Sometimes, life's hardest moments teach us the most valuable lessons. They remind us that we are not in control, and that's where true freedom begins. When you release control and place your trust fully in God, you unlock peace that surpasses all understanding. Peace that remains even in the chaos, even in the unanswered questions. It's not always easy to let go. Our human nature fights to hold on tight, to control outcomes and avoid pain. But God invites you to surrender all that weight, to lay down your worries, your fears, and your what-ifs. He offers you rest for your soul and a refuge in every storm. And when you accept that invitation, you open your heart to His power to heal, restore, and renew. So even when you don't understand the why, you can rest in the who. Because God is with you. He never leaves. He never forsakes. You are not alone in your struggle. There is strength in surrender. There is victory in trusting when it's hardest. Writing hand, if you've experienced God's peace in the midst of trials, type "peace" in the storm below. Your testimony could be a beacon for someone else today. The journey of faith is not always a straight path. Sometimes it's a winding road with unexpected detours and obstacles. But each step you take, even the difficult ones, are steps closer to God's purpose for your life. God doesn't waste any moment. He uses every experience, good and bad, to build your character and deepen your trust in Him. Remember, faith is like a muscle. It grows stronger when exercised. Challenges are the gym where your faith is trained and strengthened. When you're in the middle of a trial, it might feel like you're stuck or going backward. But God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating every detail for your ultimate good. Don't lose heart. Keep praying, keep trusting, keep pressing forward. God's promises are true, and He is faithful to fulfill them. You may not see the results yet, but your faithfulness will not be in vain. Your breakthrough is coming. Fire if you're committed to growing your faith, no matter what. Comment "strength and faith." Let's stand together and uplift one another in this journey. Sometimes, God's plans don't look like what we expected. They may be different from our dreams, our timing, or our comfort zones. But God sees the bigger picture, one that we cannot fully grasp. His ways are higher, His thoughts are deeper. When you face unexpected changes or detours, remember that God is still in control. He is using every twist and turn to bring you closer to His perfect plan. Even when the path is unclear, His love remains constant. His faithfulness never wavers. Trust Him to guide you through the unknown. Allow His peace to calm your anxious heart, and know that you are never walking alone. God's presence is with you every step of the way. Keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, the author and perfecter of your faith. He will lead you safely home. Sunflower, if you experience God's faithfulness in uncertain times, share "faithful always" in the comments. Your story might inspire someone today. If these words are lifting your spirit, why not subscribe to our channel? Join a community seeking hope, faith, and encouragement every day. Let's walk this journey together. Faith is a journey of trust, surrender, and perseverance. It's a daily decision to hold on to God's promises, even when your heart feels heavy. Remember that God's love for you is unconditional and unchanging. He is your refuge and strength in every season. When life feels overwhelming, lean into His arms. Let His peace wash over your soul like a gentle river. The storms you face are not the end. They are opportunities for God to display His power and grace. Every trial, every setback is a step closer to the victory He has prepared for you. So stand firm. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Let your life be a shining testimony of God's goodness and faithfulness. No matter what you're facing today, God's love never fails. Speech balloon if you're standing strong in faith today. Write "unshakable faith" in the comments. Your courage might inspire someone else. There will be moments in life when the weight you carry feels too heavy. Moments when your strength runs out, and you wonder how much longer you can keep going. But in those very moments, God steps in with His sustaining grace. Not a distant help, but a present one. Not a vague hope, but a real, steady strength. He doesn't ask you to carry it all on your own. He simply asks you to come to Him with your burdens, your weariness, your brokenness, and He promises rest, not just for your body, but for your soul. In Matthew 11 verse 28, Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." You don't have to pretend to be strong when you feel weak. You don't have to hide your exhaustion from the one who already knows. God meets you right there, in the mess and the fatigue, in the middle of your breaking point. He gives strength to the faint and lifts those who are bowed down. So pause, breathe, and let Him hold you. Some behind small cloud, if you're leaning on God for strength today, comment, "His strength is enough." Your honesty may be the comfort someone else is searching for. Have you ever been in a season where God feels silent? Where prayers seem to echo with no reply? Where you wonder if He's even listening? You're not alone. Many of the greatest people of faith in the Bible walked through that same silence. David cried out, "How long, Lord? Will you forget me forever?" Yet he also declared, "But I trust in your unfailing love." That's what real faith looks like. Not pretending the silence doesn't hurt, but choosing to trust anyway. You may not feel God in the silence, but He's closer than you think. Sometimes, the silence is where your roots grow deepest, where your dependence on Him is refined, where trust becomes real, not just words, but a lifestyle. God hasn't left you. He's working, even in the quiet. And when the time is right, His voice will break through the silence with clarity and purpose. Until then, stand firm. Keep praying. Keep showing up. He is still God, and He is still good. Milky Way if you're holding on through God's silence. Write "still trusting" in the comments. That quiet faith speaks louder than you know. Faith doesn't mean we'll never struggle. It means we're anchored even when the winds blow hard. Life can shake us. Disappointments can pierce deep. Plans can fall apart. But God remains unshaken, and He holds you in the palm of His hand. You might be walking through a season of uncertainty right now. Finances may be tight. Health may be fragile. Relationships may feel broken. And yet, there's still hope. Because your hope isn't rooted in what's around you. It's rooted in who is within you. God's Spirit strengthens you to rise again, to believe again, to love again, to worship again, even through tears. Your situation doesn't have to change for your praise to rise. Worship in the storm declares that you know who your God is, and that He is worthy no matter what. He is not done writing your story. Victory is coming. Peace is rising, and His promises still stand. Hibiscus, if you've chosen to keep praising God through your storm, write "Still I will praise" in the comments. Your praise has power, even in the dark. If this message has strengthened your spirit, we invite you to subscribe. Be part of a faith-filled community where encouragement flows, prayers are shared, and hope is always present. Let's grow in God together. As we come to the end of this reflection, remember this: you were never meant to walk this life alone. From the beginning, God has been with you, guiding, protecting, and loving you beyond measure. Every moment you cried in silence, He saw. Every prayer you whispered in weakness, He heard. Every time you almost gave up, His hand held you steady. You are not forgotten. You are not forsaken. You are His. And because you are His, your future is secure, your identity is unshakable, and your purpose is eternal. Keep holding on to faith. Even when the path is hard, He is with you. Even when you don't understand, He is still good. Even when you feel empty, His love overflows. Let this truth settle deep in your heart. Nothing can separate you from the love of God in Christ Jesus. Not your past, not your fear, not your failure, not the storm. God's love is relentless, and it's reaching for you right now. So stand tall, pray boldly, live fully, and never forget, the God who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. Raising hands if this entire message has spoken to your soul. Type, "Thank you, Lord," in the comments. Let's end this together in gratitude and worship.